The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are meant for informational purposes only. In the house that I grew up, there were ghosts, entities, angels, and basically a lot of traffic. I mean, traffic that was not human, but entity related. My dad was a famous astrologer, and he was a ghostbuster, and he would keep these bottles in which he had captured some ghosts. But they became a little bit of a trouble, and I'll talk about that in a little while, and he stopped doing it. But I have a lot of stories from that time. I've never really discussed it, but I think, why not? I'm a psychic, and my dad was a super psychic. Paranormal was the normal in our home. What is paranormal? Paranormal is any kind of events or phenomena that are beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. Anything that is unusual or unnatural, anything that's supernatural or folkloric, and you just do not have rational explanation for it. And 50% of Americans claim that they've had paranormal experiences that cannot be explained. If 50% of the population is saying there's paranormal, it is not really paranormal. It is normal for them. People have had visions of family members who passed. People have dreams and visions and premonitions. There are people who communicate through mind or telepathy, and there are people who have had alien encounters. Not one, not two, but a sizable population of the world. Science has always been skeptical of the paranormal activity. And rightly so, why not? Because there have been a lot of hoaxes and fakes out there. But let's not discount there's real psychics and mediums, ghostbusters, genuine people out there as well. Many times, paranormal activities, visions have been termed as just nothing but hallucination. And many times, visions and dreams has been dubbed sleep paralysis, which is just called a medical condition. And it is. However, it's not necessarily the case the whole time. All right, let's break it down. What is hallucination? What is sleep paralysis? Is it possible that hallucination or sleep paralysis are paranormal events sometimes? There are many types of hallucinations: visual, olfactory, gustatory, auditory, and tactile. Visual hallucination, you see things that are not there. Olfactory, you smell things that are not there. Gustatory, you taste things that are not there. Auditory, you hear things that are not there. And tactile, you touch something when you feel something touchy that's not there. Now, if a person has a history of substance abuse, or they've had a history of mental health issues, or they've had a history of other pathophysiological issues, and such people are complaining of hallucination, yeah, it is possible such hallucinations may not be paranormal. But what if a person does not have such a history? They don't have any history of pathophysiology. They don't have any history of substance abuse. They don't have any history of mental health issues or anything in their family. And suddenly they're feeling things. They're seeing things that are not there. They're talking to maybe a relative who has passed. Maybe they're hearing things that are not there. It is possible that such an event may be paranormal. Or someone just started seeing visions, or an entity in a new house they have moved into. There is a big chance that means there may be some paranormal activity, because if a house has been lying empty for a long time, spirits and entities move in. That's why we do the house cleansing ceremonies, or graha pravesh. Even if you are leaving your house for a vacation for 2 or 3 weeks, it is a good idea to do some paranormal safeguards of the house, so no entities or spirit will move in your house. You can use salt on the door, around the windows. You just put a little bit of salt there. You can put water with salt added in by the windows. You can also grow tulsi leaves in the front or back of your house. If you cannot grow them, you can buy dry tulsi leaves and put them by the windows in the front of the house. Other plants that are beneficial are putting banyan tree, banana tree, mango tree, sage. You can also take 7 giant red dried chili peppers and a big giant lemon and string them together and put them in front of your home to deter unwanted visitors of the non-human kind. Coming back to hallucinations, sometimes when we're sleeping, you may feel that there was someone there even though there was nobody there. And children feel this a lot. 9 out of 10 children say there's a monster in the room. Children are more sensitive to paranormal than adults. So in India, little children are not allowed to sleep on their own. They sleep with the parents. Even babies do not sleep in other rooms. Babies have like a big, giant, open crown chakra, which is very sensitive to the paranormal. So we will usually, if you are to put a baby in another room, you put a yantra, Narsinga yantra, or a picture of Hanuman. Ghosts and spirits are very scared of Hanumanji. And we always leave a little light on, specifically a red light on in the baby's room. Ideally, do not let the baby sleep in another room. You can have the baby's crib in your own room. That's the idea. The baby doesn't need to sleep on the same bed, just in the same room. That's the idea. So babies are sensitive and they will see and then they will start crying unless you have a lot of wards or safeguards around the room. So coming back to children, children always feel there's a monster in the room. It's called an intruder hallucination, according to science, where you feel there's someone there when there's nobody there. But, we kind of dismiss it. They're just kids. There's no one there. But even if there's someone there, their kids are more likely to spot it than we do. Children are really psychic. You also have vestibular motor hallucinations. Basically, you feel that there's something moving on your body, or any kind of out-of-body experience would be that. And many people have experiences during the dream state. And then there's also the chest pressure hallucination, where you feel somebody is sitting or pressing on the chest. All of these, from the perspective of Tantra and Tantric, as well as my experience as a daughter of a very famous psychic and ghostbuster, chances are many of them have some truth to them. One thing before we move on to the next topic, I want to let you know I feel spirits. I hear them. Most of the spirits I see are usually angels and higher entities. I really don't want to see people's relatives, but they still make themselves known. I feel them as someone is there, just like someone is sitting in front of you right there. One thing that I want to say, that a lot of spirits that I have experienced right here in the US are kind of harmless. People have relatives who passed. They're just hanging around. They're kind of harmless, really. And then the children they are seeing these kind of spirits. They're seeing grandparents or aunties or uncles or relatives, or, somebody who is to live in the house, especially if you're not going to do a house cleansing ceremony before you move in. India, however, is another story. In India, entities and spirits that have passed are kind of powerful. And, that's a topic for another podcast. Now, let's talk about the other elephant in the room, sleep paralysis. There's some YouTube videos out there I have seen. They call it the sleep demon. I hate that word demon. Why does it have to be necessarily all bad? Now, technically, there is a part of our sleep where our brain is awake, but the body's kind of still sleeping. So it takes a minute or two for the brain and the body to sync, and it feels like a temporary feeling of paralysis. And there is an explanation for that. And people who have not been sleeping very well, or they have disrupted insomnia or sleep patterns, or PTSD, anxiety, or there's a genetic history of such things, or people who drink a lot of alcohol, it is possible that they may feel this a lot more, the sleep paralysis. However, if there is no substance abuse, there's no insomnia, there's no PTSD, there's no panic or history or any poor sleep, and a person is still feeling this, and they also had an hallucination, especially along with the sleep paralysis, then it is possible it was paranormal. Do you have a problem with paranormal, seeing entities, or something disturbing? Play this mantra. It will help.